Today we're going to talk about ocean waves. So the first thing we're going to talk about are properties of a wave. Every wave, regardless of what type it is, ocean, sound, etc., they all have the same four major parts. Okay? This is a diagram of a wave. This is a diagram of a wave. And you will be most likely asked to diagram a wave at some point. So a couple of things you need to know about. When we're talking about a wave, the crest is the high point of a wave. The trough is the low point. The distance between the crest and the trough is known as the wave height. It's how tall it is, how tall from the crest to the trough. And the distance from one crest to another crest is known as the wave length, okay? Couple other things on the second picture. You're measuring this through the distance of time of how quick the wave is actually moving, as well as amplitude, which is from the middle to the top of the crest. So wave speed is how fast the wave is traveling, just like speed of a car. How fast is it moving? The wave speed is how fast the wave physically is moving through the water in this case. So there's also frequency and wave period. Frequency is the number of waves passing in a certain time. How frequent are they occurring? There are 12 waves in 60 seconds. There are 14 waves in 45 seconds, etc. And the wave period is how much time it takes those waves to pass a fixed point. Meaning, how long does it take the waves to pass the buoy that's 100 yards out into the ocean? That would be an example. So we have crest at the top, trough at the bottom. The distance between the crest and trough is the wave height, and from one crest to the next is the wave length. So what causes ocean waves? Well, pretty much they're generally caused by mechanical waves that carry energy through the water. You need to understand the energy is what is actually moving, okay? So most waves are caused by wind. Wind creates waves. Even if you've ever been, say, to a lake, if it gets really windy, maybe there's a storm coming, those waves start to pick up, meaning the water is blowing across the surface. Just like if you were to blow in, say, like a bowl of soup, the surface becomes rippled. That's because you are creating the wind. So it's going to blow across the surface and transfers the energy from the wind to the actual water itself. The harder the wind blows, obviously, the bigger the waves are. The longer the wind blows, the bigger the waves are, or the more waves that will continue to be seen. So very little wind, all the way up to lots of wind, possibly maybe even in like a hurricane. So there are three other less common causes of ocean waves, such as earthquakes, which also not just trigger waves, but also can trigger tsunamis, volcanoes, and landslides, which all three of those can trigger tsunamis because they all force waves up at significant heights at one time. So what happens when the waves move through the water? Well, as I said before, only the energy moves forward. The water in the wave is actually just making a circular motion. Think about it this way. Maybe you've been to whitewater before, or even if not to whitewater, maybe you've been in a wave pool. When they turn the waves on, you stay maybe in the 6-foot deep end. All you're doing is riding the wave up and down. Really, you're just going in a circle. That's why when you put things in water, they don't always drift if there's not a current. So the deeper the water particle, the smaller the movement, because most likely the smaller the wave. If you go way out into the middle of the ocean, the waves appear much smaller. If you're on a cruise ship, you might even look out and not even pretty much see any waves. It almost looks like the water is still. There are waves, they're just so small, you're barely feeling anything at all. So, if a buoy were attached to the bottom of the ocean, it's literally just going to go up and down as each time that there is a crest that comes through, okay? So this is a great simulation showing if you were to have anchored weights at the bottom on strings, they would just literally go in circles. The energy is what's moving through, not the physical water. So what happens when that wave reaches the shore? Well, that's when the energy is going to start to decrease with the depth. Because what's happening is that water is now making that circular motion, but it's hitting the bottom of the ocean. It's hitting the bottom of the ocean floor, and because of that, the bottom of the wave starts to move slower than the top. And essentially what happens is you get this break. This is called a breaker or a breaker wave, and it breaks when it gets in very shallow water, most commonly at, say, the beach. Wavelength has shortened at this point, and the wave height has increased because the wave's trying to roll over itself, and when it does, the top travels faster than the bottom. Because of that, we know what goes up comes down, so obviously what's going to pull it down? Gravity. So it's then going to transfer the energy to the shore by causing wave erosion or beach erosion. Because these angles are being hit by these seriously nice, pretty waves, it's causing debris to wash up and come back, and every time it does, it's eroding part of the surface of that beach. So this is an illustration to kind of explain. So again, we have the ocean movement, that circular motion of each individual water molecule. When you're in deep water, it doesn't hit the bottom because there's enough depth there that it doesn't make any movement towards that base. But as you start to slowly get towards shore, you'll notice the waves are moving in. As there starts to be an incline, it's rolling over and over to the point then it creates that movement of gravity pulling it down, and that's when you get your breaking waves. So the other thing that happens is called a tsunami. That's going to go back to those landslides, those volcanic eruptions, and those earthquakes that we mentioned a few minutes ago. So a tsunami is a series of waves that form when a large volume of ocean water is suddenly moved up or down at one specific time. Again, generally triggered by an earthquake, a volcanic eruption, a landslide, or even very rarely meteorites impact into the earth. So what happens is kind of like this picture. You have the motion, all the water gets forced up at once and travels quickly into shore. So it's forced up, moves inland, and as it gets higher, because we know those waves get higher in height, you get this gigantic wave that then crashes onto the surface of the earth. So if you notice, it does move very quickly. So if this is where the earthquake or whatever event happened, it would push all that water up, traveling in. Every time it gets deeper, you notice it slows down. When it slows down, it gets really high, and that would be your giant damaging wave.